You know, there's something I've been thinking about lately, something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Have you ever woken up feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, even though nothing particularly bad happened the day before? Or maybe you've noticed a friend or loved one pulling away, losing interest in things they once loved, and you can't quite put your finger on why. The truth is, depression in older adults often goes unnoticed, or worse, dismissed as just a normal part of aging. But here's the thing, it's not normal, and it's not something you just have to live with. In fact, there are some little-known facts about depression later in life that could change the way you see it entirely, maybe even change your life. That's why today, we're going to talk about 5 things you might not know about depression in older adults. These aren't just statistics or dry medical facts, they're real, meaningful insights that could help you or someone you care about feel better, reconnect with joy, and live more fully. So, let's start with the first one. Depression in older adults often looks different than in younger people. When we think of depression, we might picture someone crying all the time or saying they feel hopeless. But for many seniors, depression shows up in more subtle ways, like losing interest in hobbies, feeling unusually tired, or even having unexplained aches and pains. You might brush it off as just getting older, but it could be a sign that something deeper is going on. Take my friend Margaret, for example. She's always been the life of the party, the one who loved gardening, going to bingo nights, and calling up her grandkids just to chat. But over the past year, she stopped doing those things. At first, her family thought she was just slowing down. Then, her doctor asked the right questions and discovered she'd been feeling empty inside for months. She just didn't have the words for it. That brings me to the second fact. Many older adults don't realize they're depressed. It's not that they're ignoring it, it's that depression can creep in quietly, disguised as fatigue, irritability, or even memory troubles. Some people assume it's just stress, grief, or a passing phase. Others might feel embarrassed to admit they're struggling, thinking, I've lived through harder things, why can't I just snap out of this? But here's the good news, once you recognize it, there are so many ways to feel better. And that's exactly what we'll keep exploring, because understanding these hidden truths is the first step toward change. Now, let's talk about the third fact, and this one might surprise you. You might be surprised to hear this, but depression can actually worsen physical health problems, and vice versa. It's like a cycle that's hard to break. Think about it. If you're dealing with chronic pain, heart disease, or even something as common as arthritis, it can wear you down emotionally. And when you're feeling low, your body often feels heavier, itchier, and more sluggish. It's not all in your head, it's a real connection between your mind and body. Take my neighbor, Frank. He's had diabetes for years, and he's always managed it well. But last winter, he started skipping his walks, forgetting to check his blood sugar, and just not caring like he used to. His doctor finally sat him down and said, Frank, your body is struggling because your mind is struggling. Once Frank started addressing his depression, through simple steps like talking to a counselor and reconnecting with his morning coffee group, his physical health improved, too. He wasn't just treating his diabetes anymore, he was treating himself. That leads me to the fourth fact. Social isolation is one of the biggest triggers for depression in older adults, but it's also one of the easiest to fix. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I've always been independent. I don't need a big crowd around me, and that's okay. But here's the thing, even small, meaningful connections can make a world of difference. Remember Margaret, the woman I mentioned earlier? One of the first things that helped her was simply saying yes to lunch with an old friend, even when she didn't feel like it. That one lunch turned into a weekly meetup, and slowly, she started feeling like herself again. It wasn't about becoming the most outgoing person in the room, it was about reminding herself that she wasn't alone. And that's the beauty of these little-known facts. They don't just explain the problem, they point us toward solutions. Because here's the truth, depression isn't a life sentence. It's a challenge, yes, but one that can be met with the right tools and understanding. Now, let's move to the fifth and final fact, because this one might just change everything you thought you knew about getting older and staying happy. Here's something that might really open your eyes. Depression in older adults is often mistaken for dementia, but the two are very different, and treating one can dramatically improve the other. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went in there? Or struggled to recall a name you've known for years? It's easy to panic and think, is this the beginning of memory loss? But what if I told you that depression can cause those same lapses in focus and recall? The mind is a powerful thing. When it's weighed down by sadness or exhaustion, it doesn't work the way it should. That's why so many people notice their memory improving once they start addressing their depression. Simple things like getting better sleep, talking through their feelings, or even just taking a daily walk can sharpen their thinking again. It's not about age stealing their mind, it's about depression clouding it. And that brings us to the most important takeaway of all. It's never too late to feel better. Maybe you've been low for months. Maybe you've told yourself, this is just how it is now. But what if today was the day you decided to try one small thing differently? Call a friend. Sit outside for 10 minutes. Tell your doctor how you've really been feeling. These aren't dramatic changes, they're gentle steps, and each one matters. So let's wrap this up with the biggest truth of all. Depression isn't a sign of weakness, and it's not an inevitable part of aging. It's a challenge, yes, but one that so many people overcome every single day. And now that you know these 5 little-known facts, you're already ahead of the game. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you or someone you love experienced these signs? What small steps have made a difference? Let's keep this conversation going, because the more we talk about it, the less power depression has. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more honest, helpful talks like this one. And remember, no matter your age, your best days aren't behind you, they're waiting for you to reach out and claim them. Here's to living fully, at every stage of life.